Welcome to the first ever Hockey Epic podcast. You know, we were thinking about what we should name this podcast, and we came up with a really simple name, The Podcast, you know, abbreviated The Hockey Epic. My name is Mat Morcos.
I'm Jason Morgan.
And we want to thank you for tuning in. Alright, so just to run things through, we decided we'd divide the podcast in different segments. To start off with, the part of the show I like to call Coast to Coast with Mat Morcos. So we're just going to talk about, you know, last week's action in the NHL from east to west. Starting off with the NHL All-Star break. If you didn't have the chance to watch it, the skills competition, obviously, you know, Connor McDavid, yeah, he's fast. Alex Ovechkin, yeah, he shoots hard. He's got the most goals probably of any active player, not Jagr retired. Next thing was the precise shooting of Brock Besser. He definitely can shoot the puck like a veteran. Next thing was Johnny Gaudreau. Definitely got surgeon hands. He can puck handle better than most. Following with some of the newer competitions, we had the goalies. The goalies had to do as many saves in a row as possible. Fleury won that one. He was exceptional. He even got a windmill save out there. Also, we had the Apple competition, I like to call it. Pietrangelo won that one. Couple of saucer passes, couple of precision passes to targets that would get you eliminated. So, what about you, Jason? Did you get the chance to watch the All-Star game?
You know what, Matt? I decided not to watch the All-Star game.
Why not?
After the past few years, you know, I've had the feeling that the All-Star game, it's pointless. These guys don't care. They're making millions. They're not trying hard. The game is a joke. You know, there were other things that I preferred to do this weekend, to be quite honest.
Well, I mean, that's fine. I respect your opinion, but obviously I kind of like what the NHL did, you know, giving incentives, $25,000 for every winner of every competition or event. And also the winning team of the All-Star game would get $1 million. I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, obviously, I know it's not for everyone, but I mean, why is it that you thought it was no longer relevant?
Well, you're still talking 20 guys splitting $1 million. I don't think they're going to put their careers on the line for it. And you just don't have that kind of fiery passion that players will have. The reason the All-Star game exists is supposed to be to see the best players play each other, correct me if I'm wrong. And the problem is these best players aren't playing the best they can. You know, after the whole John Scott saga, I think that's when after that, you know, these All-Star games just aren't the same.
John Scott is the GOAT. Okay, first of all, let me just put that out there. Also, that was a great All-Star game. I mean, because he wasn't there, no one was there to beat up Patrick Kane. I know some of y'all would have liked to see that. But anywho, let's just wrap things up with the All-Star game. Obviously, everyone would have liked to see the hometown division win. You know, the Atlantic with 4 representatives of the Tampa Bay Lightning were there. But the Pacific Division proved to be the winner.
That's a shocker.
I mean, wait, did they win with John Scott? No, they didn't win.
John Scott won.
Oh yeah, sure, they won. There you go. The Pacific won for two times in the last 3 years. So great, good for them. As for the rest, I mean, it was nice to see Kucherov dangle everyone, score 3 goals, a hat trick. We got to see some hats, some helmets. We even got him to see Kucherov do that no move, shootout move, I guess you want to call it. Where you want to call it?
Yeah.
I mean, it was nice. I certainly liked that, and that's a good display of talent. So after the All-Star break, we had the NHL back on course. There was 12 games in action. I guess some of the highlights were the Ducks facing off against the Bruins. A lot of slew footing, kind of some dirty plays, very debatable. We had Ryan Getzlaf give Zdeno Chara a slash in the back of the leg. He ate a couple, you know, obviously you're not going to just get away with that. Well, for me anyways, that was a highlight of the night. The Vegas Golden Knights trailing 2-1 against the Calgary Flames. And there's about 1:46 left. Eric Haula scores his 18th. 10 seconds later, Marchand scores his 18th. And they add an open netter. The Flames blew that one. Vegas Golden Knights unstoppable. It's the last day of January, and there's some more teams in action, but I think the most important story that happened today was the return or the unretirement of Mike Fisher. I mean, I don't know what's your opinion on there. Is it because he's getting bored of Carrie Underwood? Is it because the Preds made a good offer? Does he miss his boys? I mean, what do you think? Why is he coming out of retirement?
You know what? I think this guy just had some regrets. He's seeing a team that is doing well, that could probably compete for another cup. He missed out on the cup last year, and maybe he figured, what the hell? Might as well give it another shot. And I guess the Predator organization was more than happy to have him come back on board.
Yeah, it's it.
Come the playoff time, this is definitely going to help them with the press. They're going to play it up a lot.
For sure.
And, there's no risk. It's just he was probably already living there, and he's like, you know what, let's give it another go.
You know what? I'm getting the feeling here, because they're kind of getting really stacked up front in the middle. They have good centers, and we know that they were looking for a winger. Is
Mike Fisher the magical solution? I don't know. But here's a team that is still fighting for top of their division without Mike Fisher.
Yeah.
So adding him, I don't think will be detrimental to them. And I think this team is a contender for the Stanley Cup again this year.
For sure.
They're in a tough side though. The Western Conference is really tough this year. Eastern Conference, I think
the Atlantic sucks. Okay,
I think Tampa Bay has the really easiest road to the cup they can hope for. But Mike Fisher, I mean, gotta give it to the guy. He's seeing an opportunity and he's going for it.
Yeah, that's it. I'm seeing Poyle trying to maneuver his cards here. He's got Johansson, he's got Turris, he's got Bonino, he's got Mike Fisher, he's got other centermen. So maybe he could, you tempt a guy like Marc Bergevin into trading Pacioretty. I don't know. I'm just talking here,
man,
but it's possible.
They have already got Emlyn and Subban on their team.
Oh yeah, they're bringing all the old Habs. Let's bring them all in. I'm not lying to each other when we both know that Marc Bergevin is going to be a seller at the deadline. They're not like the Oilers. They don't think they can make the cup. Let's forget about the wet dreams here.
The thing is, the Montreal Canadiens are sellers. The question is Bergevin the one who's going to be there to do the sales?
Oh man, I really hope he doesn't screw this one up. I think he wants to do good because he's probably tired of getting the reputation of a guy that sells away his players or does bad trades. But, I'm not really that confident in his abilities to pull through here.
No.
Moving on to the second segment of the podcast, Chirps That Hurt.
Are we talking about Rat Boy right now?
Well, I guess it's time to talk about Rat Boy. And, if there's one thing that hurts more than Chirps is an elbow to the side of the head. Ask Marcus Johansson. He's out with a concussion. I mean, what's your thoughts on Brad Marchand? I mean, he does everything with a smile on his face.
I hate the guy, and I want to hate the guy.
You like the guy, no.
But you got to give it to him. The guy's a good player.
Fuck.
Not just that, but he's got a Stanley Cup. He's got a gold medal. He's been an all-star. The guy plays a dirty game, but a good game. I'd gladly take him on my team any day.
I don't know. Maybe, I hear off the ice is a great guy. Probably he's a good teammate. But a 6-time repeat offender. He's slew-footed right about everyone. He's probably even slew-footed his mother. Obviously Marchand, we know he comes with a package. At the All-Star game, he had a big smile on his face most of the time. He was getting booed, and he took it like a champ. But at the end of the day, that big nose needs to fucking, work on his finesse a little. Just stop doing that dirty stuff. No one likes that. You're letting down your teammates. Now you're out 5 games. Hope he hears me. All right, so that concludes the Chirps, I guess. Moving on to the next segment, which I've called Polls and Trolls. Not to be mistaken with the polls you would have at, a stripper joint or anything like that. Polls as in you guys get to vote on Twitter. We're going to throw out some questions, or a question, should I say. And you guys can go vote on Twitter at the Hockey Epic. So with the trade deadline coming up, in about a month, maybe even less than a month, on the 26th of February.
It's coming.
Which teams do you see making a splash, making a big trade, and which teams do you see, downsizing and, just getting rid of their bigger assets? So, quick fire, we got 4 teams that we're betting will be sellers.
Yeah, I think the first one is the Montreal Canadiens. Here's a team that honestly nothing has gone right for them. They've made the wrong moves, and they're just in a place where they're better off going for the draft. And they have some interesting assets to trade around that have a lot of value right now. First of all is Max Pacioretty.
Yeah, Max Pacioretty, definitely the centerpiece of all discussions at this point. Marc Bergevin is probably the most active GM at the moment, so that's one of the options. The Buffalo Sabres, obviously, again...
Evander Kane is, if I was a betting man, I would say Evander Kane is another one of those scoring forwards that they can get a good return for.
Yeah, they're probably asking a lot.
Oh, they're asking a lot. I think you have better choices out there. If you want to go out on a limb, you could always say maybe, Vancouver, maybe Vanek.
Yeah.
But Vanek's been, he's been up and down player. He won't bring the same kind of return.
I don't know if he's a playoff performer, but, to go back on Evander Kane, some could argue that put in the right scenario with leadership and whatnot, he could flourish. He could become that lethal left winger that some of these teams are looking for. I'm thinking, Columbus. I'm thinking maybe LA also. They're lacking on the left side. I don't know if you have any other teams that you could think of. But I think Evander Kane could be a good asset to trade for come the trade deadline. And the final team that we see definitely selling is the Detroit Red Wings. They haven't fully admitted to be in a rebuild, but they definitely should.
They're there. They're on the cusp. I think they eventually have to realize that they'll have to rebuild this team from scratch.
Yeah, Zetterberg might be leaving.
You know, there's just too many old pieces, and they've got some guys that'll have a lot of value around the league. So I would look to... If I was a GM, I'd start calling Detroit and try to convince them of their inevitable fate. Yeah,
one name that comes up is obviously Mike Green. He's a veteran defenseman. He's got a good shot from the point, plays the power play. I think he could definitely raise some eyebrows come the trade deadline. So
you know what my dark horse is Las Vegas. I want to know what Las Vegas is going to do, because here's a team that I would have bet everything was a seller at the deadline, but they're doing so well. Will they buy? Will they stay put?
Yeah.
They needed to build a pipeline, but they're doing so well, they can't possibly be sellers right now.
No, I mean, they do have contracts to renew. They do have David Perron and James Neal that are to be re-signed, but I think at this point they're holding on to those assets. So I guess at this point, guys, the question is, which one of these four players do you see getting traded? Absolutely. Max Pacioretty, Evander Kane, Thomas Vanek, or Mike Green. And which team do you see absolutely buying? The Vegas Golden Knights, the LA Kings, Columbus Blue Jackets,
Tampa Bay Lightning,
or even, the Tampa Bay Lightning. That's a good one. So before we jump to the next segment, Jason probably would like to talk about the article he just wrote, right?
About the goaltenders. Yeah, no, goaltenders are an important piece of a team. And if you read the article, you'll get a little more insight on different strategies that teams have taken with regards to goaltenders. I won't go over it too much here, but I think what we can say is it's important to have a good backup goalie.
Oh yeah, but we've seen the Pittsburgh Penguins make great use of their two goaltenders last spring, and now with the departure of Marc-Andre Fleury, we definitely see an issue with the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Oh, there's definitely a lack, and there are other teams. You can once again, I hate to always talk about Vegas, but now they have Fleury and they have young Subban doing well, so they have options.
Subban's doing well,
they have options when it comes to playoff.
Yeah, it's true.
Being able to switch a goalie if the guy goes cold is an option that not all the teams have.
Yeah, obviously, it wasn't always good for Vegas. I mean, if we remember at the beginning of the year, they went through 4 or 5 almost goaltenders, and they even had a guy from the WHL, if I'm not mistaken, from the Kamloops.
Yeah, they had to call someone up for a game.
I mean, there wasn't always gold for the Golden Knights, but let's be real, they've managed to salvage the situation, and they've put together some great numbers. So, I mean, I thought personally they didn't look too good on paper on the fence, but man, they proved me wrong. Moving on to the final segment, and this just a simple name, story time. So, I played in Montreal, and I had the pleasure to play with a couple of guys that are in the NHL or were in the NHL. And one guy that comes to my mind right now is Mark Barberio. For those who don't know where he plays, he's in Colorado right now. Last year, they had a disastrous year. this year, doing much better. They're on the bubble of the playoffs. We think they're going to make it. So the story is here, I was playing with Mark, and I was trying out for Bantam AA. And, I guess I was a little rusted. I'm not the greatest of there. Okay, maybe I could have made the NHL, maybe not. Debatable. But one thing I do...
Debatable.
Okay, take it easy. One thing I remember is I'm going to get the puck. And this is the first year that it was full contact. For some reason, in Quebec, the system is they delayed the full contact. So I'm going in to get the puck, and Mark is coming in, and he steamrolls me, absolutely lays me out. I think it was the first time I had gotten hit. I swear to God, I was on my back, and he destroyed me. I obviously, at the end of the tryout, I got cut. Mark made the team. So there you go, Mark. If you hear this, congrats on ruining my NHL career. And I'm glad the best of us actually made it. Good luck in the season, and hopefully, everything goes well on your side. So we hope you've enjoyed this first episode of the podcast. Again, we'll be back real soon, and we want to remind you that you can go visit thehockeyepic.com. We have some great articles for you. We have some good stuff that's coming up. We've got a couple of products we're baking right now. We're cooking up some nice stuff for you guys.
Oh yeah, some good things coming.
So once again, I'm Mat Morcos.
I'm Jason Morgan, and this is the podcast.
Thanks again, guys. Cheers. Have a cold one on us.